Hi there, Mark here again. Welcome to this first of my build guides for the FF-03. This is going to end up as a Honda Civic Type R, but this is the generic build manual. So let's get on with this. Okay, so one thing I would say is from the beginning is read through the manual first, because I've found out quite a few little points along the way. The first thing being that we need some synthetic rubber cement, it says here, because step one is building the ball differential, and before we can really do that, you can see here it shows that we need to glue these diff plates onto your S2 and S3, which are the output drives, which I'm not really keen about this. They're plastic, behave. You have to glue these metal plates on. I don't really know what this synthetic rubber cement is supposed to be, so I've used this stuff. It's from the local pound shop. Basically it says that it's suitable for metal and plastic, and it says that it's resistant to shock, impact, water and extreme temperatures. So let's hope that that does the trick. It seems to have stuck them on okay so far. This is the stuff actually used for gluing my tyres onto my rims, but anyway, let's hope that holds up. So that's the first thing you do, and let that dry. Did that a couple of hours ago. So what we need to do is open parts bag A, which I've done, and what I suggest you do is use a lid or something like this, because we've got some tiny parts, including those ball bearings. We don't want those rolling away, and you need 12, and there are only 12, so I better not lose one. Okay, so that's all the parts ready. So if we look down the side, we get the bearings that we need. We can match all the parts up on the side there, make sure we've got all the bits we need. There's this tiny BA11, which I found difficult to find, but it's a little cap screw, and then it's got a tiny little lock nut to go with that. That's going to hold all of this assembly together. What we first do is get your BA34, which is the actual diff gear itself, and as you can probably see, I've put some of the diff ball grease into those little holes already to take the ball bearings. So you need that grease, and I think we also need to grease up these drive plates with the ball diff grease, and I think that's the only time we need that. And then for the other grease we need is the molybdenum grease, which we're going to put onto that BA11 pin and to this tiny little bearing, which is strange because it's kind of an open cage. Right, so that's what we need to get this together, so let's get on with it. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see what's going on. So I'm just using this bradawl to pick up, it's slightly magnetised, so I can pick up the balls and just poke them into those cutouts, and thankfully the grease is holding them in place, because they do go through to the other side, those holes, or else the diff wouldn't work. Okay, so when all the balls are in place, I've greased the plates up with the ball diff grease. What we need to do is to get the 850 bearings, put one on there with the lug sticking up, and one inside the slot there. Get the diff, put it in place. I've got the S2 at the bottom with the lug pointing up, S3 at the top, push that together, it kind of clicks into place. Okay, so now it says turn it over here, so it's the other way up, and then we need to put the spring in the centre. Just drop that in. Then we need part K1, which is this little chap, you can see there. Put the lock nut inside the top, and then place that into the output shaft. Push it down. Okay, so that's in. Now we need that strange little bearing. You can see that there. It's kind of got a open cage. We need to get your cap screw BA11, put some grease on the shaft there, put the bearing on, and then put some more of the molybdenum grease onto the outside of the cage. And now that's ready to be inserted into the other side of the diff. So what we need to do now is screw that up. Okay, so I had a bit of trouble getting it started. I had to use another screwdriver or hex driver to push in the other end just so I could get the thread started. But once it's coarse, you can do that up. You can get your wrench, it says put it through. Let me show you there. And use that to tighten up against. I don't know how tight is too tight, to be honest with you. Okay, so I'm just going on feel. That's pretty tight. I wouldn't go too mad because basically it's that spring that's going to be providing the tension, and it does feel very tight as it is, to be honest with you, so I'm going to leave it like that. It shouldn't come undone because we've got a lock nut on there anyway. And last but not least, fit on the 1510, the large bearings, one on either side, and that's the all diff complete. So on to part 2, which is the idler gear. So we need to get BA35, the plastic gear, push in a 1050 bearing, one in each side, and then you've got BA32, which is it's like an aluminium bar that goes through the middle, and that's that, nice and easy. Then we've got bar BA31, BA37, which is the metal gear, and we need to push that on, and then put the pin, which is a BA20, that silver pin. Notice that it is silver. There is another darker one that's in parts bag A. That just needs to go through the 2 holes. Try and locate it like so. Hope that doesn't fall out. Oh, and then we need to put BA40, which is this 7mm O-ring. I think that's going to go over the outside, and that will keep the pin in place. Okay, so you can see the O-ring is on there, and that, yeah, that's holding that pin in place. All we need then is an 840 bearing on the end. Snaps on, and we need part K2, which is plastic part. Okay, so the flat side goes up against the gear, and then we've got the 1050 bearing that goes on the end like so. Okay, so that's step 2, nice and easy. On to step 3, which is putting it all in the case. Get part A1, make sure it's lined up the same as in the diagram. It says cover all these parts with ceramic grease, which I have done. So the first thing I'm going to put in is counter gear. I'm going to get grease everywhere now. Goes in like so. The idler gear goes next to it, and then the ball diff itself. We've got to make sure this goes in the right way. It shows here that make sure this end is the one with the cap screw in it, which it is. That goes like so. Grease meshing up, there's probably too much in there, but what we don't need will just get thrown off. And all we need to do is plop A2 on the other side, like so. Then you've got M6, you've got the 2 5mm balls that I've already screwed in there. They go in the outer of the 2 holes, as you can see. Goes that way around. We need to screw this onto the case with 2 12mm screws. It's a little bit awkward, but it fits onto these holes here. There's a little kind of recess on the end of each one, and it fits into this slot like so. And then we just get a screw in each side. Okay, so when that's done up, we just need to finish this part by putting S1, which are these two rings that go on the end of the output shafts. It does say note direction. There is a really tiny chamfer on one side, so make sure you get that right. The flat side goes to the outside, the chamfer goes to the inside, and they just clip on like so. Okay, so that's step 3 finished. So step 4 says attaching the motor plate, which is this thing. Again, make sure you get everything oriented the right way around. Just copy the diagram. There's a cutout, so that goes that way around. Yep, that's right. And then you've got M3, which holds the motor. Again, make sure it's the right way around. It says for these longer screws, there's two 48mm and a 35mm. Says put thread lock on those. So yeah, a thread lock onto those, and let's get it put together. Don't forget to put that 3mm washer on the 35mm screw here, and into the thread in the plate. And then it's simply a case of part M1 being attached with 10mm screws onto this other part of the plate. So when you're finished, it should look something like this. There's your 2 screws holding this part here, 2 screws the other side through the plastic bracket, and then we've got 1, 2 and 3 screws there which go through into the alloy plate. So that's that part 4 finished. So quickly on to step 5. Step 5 is attaching the spur gear, and we'll finish off at this point and try and keep these videos a bit shorter. So the first thing we need is K17, which is this piece, the slot facing outwards, to fit that over. And then we need this BA19. If you remember before, I said there were the 2 shafts. This is the darker coloured shaft that goes through. Let's just get this in position, and that locks that piece so that it is locked onto the shaft. And then all we need to do is get our spur gear, which is 68th. Don't think it matters which way around it goes, it looks the same both ways. And this will actually hold the pin in place when it's secured. So we just line up any of the holes with holes in the back plate, and then you've got these 2 very flat-headed screws, BA10s they're called, but they've got extremely, I don't know if you can see that, extremely flat heads on them, so you can't get them mixed up with the others. And they just go into 2 of the holes. The other one mounts opposite. Again, don't go too crazy with the tightening on these, because it'd be quite easy to strip out the plastic in that K17 part. Okay, so that's step 5 finished. As I said, I'm going to bring it to a finish now, so hopefully you'll join me on part 2 of the build guide, where we'll be starting with step 6, which is the front damper stay and the suspension linkages. Thanks again, hope to see you soon, take care, bye.